Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Coding Zoo. If this is your first time joining, my name is Shane. This is the HTML Building Blocks series. In today's lesson, we're going to continue to go over different form elements. We're going to cover different elements for creating a button. We're going to look at the input type of button. We're going to look at the button element. We're going to look at the reset button, and we're going to look at the submit button. So if you're not familiar with each of those ways of creating a button, hey, stick around. We're going to jump right in. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. As usual on my desktop, I have my HTML page loaded. I've prepared a basic HTML page here with a head, a body. I went ahead and added a form to this page. This form submits back to itself, and I added a field set. A field set, of course, is just a way of putting like fields together. I went ahead and also added an input type of text to create a text box. So if you look at this page, you can see I have a text box, but no buttons. So let's first go ahead and cover how to create a submit button. So I have a form here. It has an element to input text, but there's no button to actually submit the form to our pretend server. So let's add a submit button. So I'm going to go to my field set. I'm going to type in input type equals submit, S-U-B-M-I-T. And close that element off. So this is the input HTML element usually used inside of a form. It has many different types. I'm using the type submit. Let's fix that typo. Let's get my keyboard straight so I can type. Okay, let's save it. Click refresh. So this is an example of a submit button. So what's neat about a submit button? A submit button is made to automatically tell the browser to submit that form and take the data for that form and send it where it needs to be sent, defined by your form, of course. So for example, I'm going to type in my name. I'm going to click submit, and when I click submit, you should see this page call itself and pass the information from the form to this page. Submit, and there we go. I've got my text box equals Shane. So that's what's neat about a submit button, is you can go ahead and automatically submit to the page. All right, one other way of creating a button. I'm going to do a regular button. So I'm going to do input type equals button. All right, let's save it. Refresh. So now I have a regular button. I put in my custom text here. Now let's try to submit this form with it. I'm going to put in my last name. We see where it says Shane from before. Let's see if it will change to Crouch. So I'm going to click the submit form regular button, and it did not submit the form. So this type of button will not automatically submit the form for you. The submit button will. Now you can use JavaScript or other features to make it submit the form. But if you want the button to do it automatically, you can just use the submit type. Now I can also go up and actually change the text of my submit button here. Save it, click refresh, and I got a typo. So I can put custom text there also. The main difference is one automatically submits the form and the other doesn't. Not a big difference there. So if you're using JavaScript frameworks or using things behind the scenes, you may not want to submit the button or submit the form right off. You may want to do other things first. You may want to perform some kind of complex validation before you submit the form. So then you'd use the input type of button instead of input type of submit. And you could go ahead and just call it JavaScript. And you may even pass that form information without submitting the form, just by grabbing the form and using something like Ajax, the form data, and using something like Ajax and passing it to the server behind the scenes. All right, so let's cover the next type of button. We have one more here. Actually, we have two more buttons to cover. Now here is a reset button. So input type equals reset. Save it. Click refresh. Now I have a reset button here. It will allow you to also specify any kind of text you want to specify. What does that button do? Well, if you guess that it resets your form, then you guessed correctly. I'm going to put some data in this text box. A bunch of gibberish. Doesn't mean anything. Accidentally hit the keyboard. I can either erase it like that, or I can have something that clears out my form. So you might want to use this in case you have like a bunch of form elements you want to allow the user to start all over from fresh. You could say reset the form, clear my data. It'll automatically clear all the set form values in the form. So if you got 100 form elements, it's going to clear them all. So that is the input type of reset. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so one final button. I can use the button element. So there's actually an element that's made for button. And the difference in this and using the type, input type of button, or using a submit button, is that you can actually put images and text, or just an image. You can put whatever you want on the button. So that's one of the key differences here. There were some problems with this button, I believe, in early versions of IE. Of course, there are always problems with IE. But let's look at how this works. So I'm going to add an image here. I'm going to save it, click refresh. All right, so I was able to take an image and put it on the button, and I was also able to add text to the button. Now, what type of button is this? Is it similar to the regular button, where if you take this and add data and click submit, it won't submit it? Or is it like a submit button, where if you click it, it actually changes the text and submits the data to the server? Which is it? Let's type in my name and let's click it, see what happens. So there we go. It's just like the input type equals submit. I'm not quite sure if that's on all browsers, but I would program like it was. So that's it for today. We've gone over the submit input type. We've gone over regular input type of button. We've gone over the reset button type, and we've covered the button element. Pretty neat stuff. Hope that makes a lot of sense. If you have any questions, leave a message below. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. And if this is your first time watching one of our videos and you'd like to see more, click subscribe, and there's a little bell icon. Click on that so you'll get alerts. If you didn't like the video, hey, leave me a message below. How can we improve? How can we make it better for you? Our goal at the Coding Zoo is to help you learn how to program. Thanks again for watching. We hope to see you next time. Have a great week.